Hello, wonderful listeners. This is Joanna Dos Santos from Mindful Counseling, also known as JDS Counseling. You can find me on different platforms using Google Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, Pandora, Alexa. I haven't been on in a while to record a podcast, and part of the reason being, even though the time is there, is more about just scheduling purposes, clients, even feeling overwhelmed, to be honest with you. And another reason is that my family and we actually had COVID a few weeks ago. So we had to deal with those challenges. Thankfully, everybody's okay today, but we had to deal with the challenges of not feeling well and needing to recover, taking time for self-care. And rest, most importantly. So I figured it would be a good way to start this podcast with the thoughts on self-care and being kind to ourselves. I know a lot of times in my previous podcasts, I focus on human connections and anxieties and daily struggles and what may come up and not come up. But I think it's also important to address our own self-care needs. And I feel like what I notice a lot too, whether it's with myself, with my clients, with friends and colleagues and families, is that there's so much pressure out there in a sense of needing to do. Always do. And the pressures that we give to our children and teach our kids what they need to do, how fast they need to do things. And I noticed that because of these pressures and because of these high expectations that we might have upon ourselves or for our children, for our families, is that it can cause so much anxiety. I noticed that for myself, especially when I give myself a pressure to do something and I feel like I don't have enough time to do it. And this is quite common. It happens a lot. I don't know if I could necessarily say COVID or not is part of it too. I think the pressures have also existed way before COVID. I feel like I use COVID a lot because I feel like it's used in my daily language. Maybe not every day, but it sure is used quite a lot. And to be honest with you, I do get tired of talking about it, but at the same time, it's hard to not talk about it. So going back into pressures that we give to ourselves, our kids, our jobs, needing to complete projects, needing to answer the 200-300 emails that seem to come in on a daily basis, if not daily basis, maybe $200-300, I was going to say. I'm laughing at myself as I say this. 200-300 emails, if not more, that we might be receiving on a daily basis, and we feel pressured that we need to answer all of them. Is that necessarily the case? So I work with a lot of individuals who might be doing a job, but not for just one person, but a job for many. Part of it being because either we lost our jobs, we don't have jobs, or we can't get hired. So that's one pressure right there as to what we need to do. And how to be kind to ourselves. So I noticed when we were fighting COVID and being under the weather and being sick, some of my family members kind of jumped back to normalcy very quickly and feeling good, while others had lingering side effects a little bit longer than usual. I mean, like I said, everybody's okay, thankfully, knock on the door, but it's the part of needing time, needing self-care, and how do we take care of ourselves when we rest? Do we still feel the pressure of needing to do, or do we actually recognize of how important that time off is? So what is self-care? What is being kind to ourselves? It's our internal dialogue that it is okay to rest. It is okay to close our eyes. It is okay to lounge for more than usual, maybe, especially if you're someone that is always on a go, like myself. So how did I decide to take care of myself and be kind to myself, knowing that I still had other things to do. So for each moment that I recognized I had a little bit of break, whether it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes, maybe not every single time, but I closed my eyes. I also did, for one of my other practices, I did a kindness meditation. And I felt like it was so good. In a moment before even proceeding with the meditation, I was not sure whether or not I was going to do that type of meditation, but I decided to. And the meditation focused on kindness to self. We are so quick to be kind to others, hopefully, to take care of others, to provide for others, maybe to be good for others, to jump in to help others, not recognizing that we need to take care of that ourselves and for ourselves as well. Especially for those personalities that have a tendency to be very vulnerable and always there for everybody else, that they have a tendency to forget about themselves. And many of you listening to this podcast at this moment can recognize whether or not you are the type of a person that's giving a lot to someone else, that's given too much maybe to others and not yourself. And we struggle with that. Those personalities have a tendency to struggle with it. Is where is it that I can take care of myself and be kind for myself? To maybe cook a meal for myself that I want to cook. Maybe ask someone else to make you a meal or a cup of warm tea. Maybe for someone else to bring you a blanket because you find yourself being too chilly and too tired to get up. Kindness has a lot to do with not just the kindness for someone else, but the kindness towards yourself. Our inner thoughts, our inner dialogue. And we sure have an inner dialogue that can be very crucial, very critical, and hopefully very kind. So how can you address your own needs today? How can you address your own kindness today in this present moment? You might be on a road. You might be sitting at a desk in between your work schedule. Maybe you're taking the time to listen to this at night or in the morning. So where is your kindness for self today? Sometimes it's not even just the critical dialogue that we have for ourselves, but it is the physical, being critical physically towards ourselves. Not taking care of our bodies the way we should be. Not drinking enough of water. Not eating enough of healthy foods, because let's face it, who does not like sugar? So, being kind to self is being able to take care of yourself. In a few moments that you might have during the day, being kind to self means taking a rest when you feel like your body's telling you to rest. When you feel overwhelmed, which is a big one. Most of the time, we do have a tendency to feel overwhelmed because of our responsibilities, our never-ending list, the tasks that we need to complete, whether it is a job, home, kids, pets, other family members. It would be good for you to take a breath in this present moment. A deep breath and see how good it feels. Notice whether or not your heart in this present moment is beating too fast or good enough. It is important to address our needs. and take a break in between of our daily chaotic schedules. I will end here for today, but I promise I'm taking care of myself. I hope that you're taking care of yourself, and I promise that I will continue with these podcasts with more interesting topics to come. So, until next time, be well and be safe.